threats, but OMG still finding their feet. We do jump into our draft for game number 2, where swap sides, of course, as Maokai gets a well-deserved ban there. I was expecting that in game 1, so were you. Didn't happen, but OMG actually gonna ban Kalista, as cool as Cassiopeia also gonna get banned.
It's just, I think, should always be the case that when a lane is in transition to the top lane especially, ban out the tried and true lane swap, 1v1, 1v2, low item ceiling, get a Righteous Glory and it'll all be okay champion like Maokai is in this current meta. Cassiopeia actually seeing the blue side ban. Feels like Xiaohu's not confident on picking him up. He loves the Azir side of things, but when it comes to Cassiopeia, he avoids that like the plague.
He does, and Azir is actually banned by OMG on the red side, so a smart adaptation there. Gragas banned away, Rek'Sai banned away, so Sejuani and Nunu, the 2 big junglers left.
I mean, again, it's a very standard. It feels like the ban pool has gotten a bit more cemented, so we know that there's 5 or so champions that feel like they're must pick. Probably the biggest one to come through is Alistar, which might be considered as a first pick. I feel like taking Alistar would at least be a blocker pick to the LeBlanc, which has made it through. You don't really want to give cool LeBlanc. We've already seen Xiaohu struggle a bit on that champion, so I think you take the Alistar and just deal with everything else.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's not that much that's open here. We'll see what OMG want to pick up, but RNG, I do like Alistar in general. I think is a great first pick in this sort of situation, but it's Hecarim instead, one of the other popular champions that they'll take.
Surprising to see them actually value the Hecarim over the Alistar. I feel like every team... The kind of fun thing about this meta is that every team can have their slight tilt towards one particular priority, but won't feel unhappy if they miss out on 1 or 2 champions. Sivir might go back onto the champion pool. We talked about Uzi moving away from selfish carries. He makes Sivir look like a really big late game threat, and honestly, she can be depending on the comp. Very strong committed AD carry lane here if they do opt in for Sivir and Alistar.
Well, Alistar is locked in, but I think Sivir's a fine choice for Uzi as well. Woosh has not really shown that much. He does play Vayne, so that's a potential soft counter pick, I'm going to say. I'm definitely not committing it to being an actual counter pick. MLXG, though, locks into Sejuani straight away with it being left open. And that's a response, of course, to the Sivir Alistar that OMG picked up for themselves.
Picking the CC jungler, there's not too many options on the board. With Rek'Sai and Gragas being taken out of the pool, the early pressure junglers, you can go off meta with the Lee Sin, or you just kind of have to deal with medium pressure junglers. Sejuani with Sin, people like Clearlove make it work in terms of ganking pressure. But we all know the potential of the late game Sejuani, so it's a good investment pick. And they actually go for the Morgana as well. We've seen Morgana mid come out a little bit from some teams, QG in particular, but it's probably going to be a support pick for late.
Yeah, I love it against Alistar as well. Just stopping that combo in its tracks as best you can. Jarvan Nartho coming in, so Narvan will make his triumphant return back to the LPL.
Now that is a surprise. See, a very confident Narvan lock-in. Of course, the Gnar, no surprise against Hecarim. Wait to see what Jiang's... Gnar is like, I'm expecting full tank. He doesn't really feel like he's at that stage in his development where he's going for the Frozen Mallet or Black Cleaver. He doesn't have years of mid lane experience like Zatai to transition to top and just build damage items as if it's in meta. So the Jarvan, though, that's a Loveland champion. Playing not Loveland and going for Loveland's favorite in Jarvan, super surprising to me, but it's locked in, and what an engaged trio they have between Alistar, Gnar, and Jarvan, set up by the Sivir ult.
Yeah, good stuff there already, but RNG complete their composition for this second game. Lucian locked in there for Wish. That's been the common counter pick today against the Sivir. Makes sense. And Lulu there for Xiaohu, I have to assume, although they do have some flexibility.
It's going to be Lulu coming through from Xiaohu. I'm really impressed by his Lulu the last 2 times I've seen it, both in the promotion tournament and last week. He is capable of carry performance. He's able to really pressure what are usually even matchups. I believe it was actually the Orianna matchup. My mind could be playing tricks on me last week, but was able to pressure, control the Orianna, even almost open up kill pressure on what is usually a farm matchup. And then when we get into the team fight phase, whoever's getting the wild growth, whether it's going to be MLXG on the Sejuani or the Hecarim for the massive wombo engage, there's a lot of damage potentially coming from top. And if they can get this Hecarim going, I do like what RNG have been able to put together.
Well, OMG have a very clear plan on the other side there, and it is all wombo all the time. Nervan was not enough, apparently. Neither was the Alistar with the Sivir to tie it all together. They needed the Shockwave in as well from Cool, and Xiaohu's Orianna looked decent but couldn't quite get the job done. Cool going to have another big carry performance on very old school classic Cool champion.
I'm a little bit surprised to see that Orianna. I thought maybe the Ari, given how great he is the champion, Rookie's impressive performance earlier today might have been brought out for just a bit more mid-game power, but we rotate through these lineups. Lulu versus Orianna is what we eventually get in the mid. Gonna be a farm fest.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we're going to go back to mid-game here, and if that's what OMG want to do and play big, honestly, classic OMG style with that Freight Train, there's so many Freight Train style ultimates here that, you know what, for a new team, it's often said that you just want to take your big ultis and put them all together. I think if you're starting out and trying to find your feet, this is a fine strategy for OMG.
It feels like brute force backline engage versus flank ward backline engage between the two teams. Very similar identities again, but this should be a more bloodthirsty game page time. I'm expecting a lot of kills, a lot of exciting, sometimes sloppy, but always exciting team fights between the two. And I think it'll be much the same win condition of whoever can get ahead. If Hecarim can get big, Hecarim versus Na, we've seen both sides of that matchup tonight. Can Jiang actually build the damage, or will it not be a factor if they play around this Hecarim?
Well, let's find out soon. We're about to get into our final game. And we're on to the Rift now for RNG. Royal Never Give up against Oh My God. OMG are currently a game up after a very strong push in the late phase of game number 1. But game number 2 could be anyone's here in OMG. A rough start to their season here, 2-2. RNG the same here. Will the teams continue on and split once again to remain at a 50% win rate for the season, or are OMG going to jump ahead here and get the full 3 points?
Speaking of jump ahead, RNG have been really aggressive in their early rotations. Let me rush to lane up top to see if there was a quick lane swap coming through from OMG. They took down the ward with the nice auto attack cancel with the Northern Winds from Sejuani and pick up the minion. They have such an aggressive line of vision in the top side. You can tell from the lack of pots that Hecarim's kind of trying to suss out what's happening at level 1. Does he have to port back and just pick up potions? Can he start a camp? Can he even start a camp on the enemy side, the jungle? So far, it looks like a prototypical lane swap being engineered by RNG in terms of their vision, but their bottom lane's actually going straight to the bot side.
Yeah, it's really weird for them to start on the left side of the map but have the duo down to the bottom. I mean...
Not vertical jungling.
Wait, hang on. This is very complicated. Yeah, no, okay, so we actually are going to have 2v2 lanes, but Xiang's the one confusing me because he's just hanging out on the top side, but that is, of course, is his side of the jungle.
It is. He's the odd one out in this situation. It looks like it was going to be vertical jungling given the vision line. It's obviously a lot safer for them to jungle on the top side, but the result is they've actually sent multiple members bottom. It's going to be standard 2v2 lanes, just with what looks like a trade in terms of their red buffs, and you'd have to think, I believe that at least Jueja's got the knowledge and isn't going to get 3 buffed again, but we've seen him get 3 buffed once, so it's possible.
Yeah, don't want to do it again here. No extra pressure coming through for MLXG, but red buff, has been taken away by RNG on the blue side. So he'll go back to his own blue buff now on their side of the map. Cool versus Xiaohu now. We'll see what happens as Cool gets a quick level 2 there and able to put a bit of pressure. No, Lulu's auto attack damage a little too much early on.
I guess the only thing I can speculate is that with the second smite, maybe they felt like they could get the 3 buff from brute force. Jarvan picks up the Scuttle Crab. Will he visit bot or take the enemy red buff? That's the question we don't know the answer to.
Yeah, he's at Dragon right now, puts a ward down, but does not walk over to the buff. So Shui might be 2 for 2 on the 3 buff. That is not how you want to start your games.
Yeah, Jueja's getting bodied. After the first game, it feels like he's just intimidated by MLXG. MLXG, if anything, has shown aggression is the name of his game. Even just during that spotlight replay, so many attempted plays, okay, not coming off just given the texture of the game, but it's good to see him still trying things late in the game when it looked inevitable that OMG would pick up a victory, and amazing. So Jueja in this situation gets 3 buff.
He just goes back and got his Trailblazer, but he is going to return to an empty, desolate jungle here. This almost feels like a mind game like you've mentioned here, because they had 2 people bottom. I think it would have been perfectly safe, but Shui just assumes that the buff is up. But we know, and maybe he doesn't, that that's not the case. Is Xiang and Let Me going to trade here? MLXG will go back and get his Trailblazer up as well, but OMG's new jungle is going to be very, very sad.
You just won't see MLXG or RNG try this against junglers they respect or junglers that they fear. I feel like this has to be playing upon the new member to the LPL, playing upon the new jungle. You would not do this to Loveland, I don't think. He did not consistently get 3 buff, maybe once or twice throughout the course of the LPL spring. But it's good assertive play. It's using the 2 smites to take the camps faster than expected. But it's not like Zhuezhui went to an enemy camp and was surprised to not find it there. He's just been a herbivore almost, killing his smaller camps.
Yeah, he's just taking whatever he can get. And the nice thing is that maybe a slightly risky start, but a good gambit there paying off for RNG means that Sejuani has a completely safe farm now to level 6. Jarvan's the one that's supposed to apply all this early pressure pre-6 and ramp up when he finally gets his ulti. MLXG is just going to have a field day farming out the rest of his jungle and getting that ultimate.
And all the nerfs to Jarvan was centered around removing the armor from his Demacian standard, which obviously makes his early jungle clear that much more risky. He falls low, he's not as sustainable, he's not usually high enough health to actually visit lanes afterwards, especially when he's jungling much more than he wants to be. Credit to RNG. Their early game in both of the games of this set has been excellent.
Yeah, but Woosh taking a good trade there as Uzi just weaving in the autos there after amazing his combos. They're doing a nice job keeping things up. Amazing keeping Uzi healthy there as well. And it's a slim CS lead, but a CS lead nonetheless for Uzi.
Zhuezhui is on the Jarvans, who does have good gang pressure onto the no-flash Hecarim. Level 4, so he's kept competitive in levels.
Yeah, they're diving the bottom lane. Amazing's level 4, but he eats a binding, and first blood is going to go to Woosh in a very interesting fashion.
Yeah, he just went for the turret dive and got screwed over completely by the binding. Excellent mechanical play from Lei, doing his best Mako impression with the sniper binding, and Amazing just looks silly bound under the turret.
Must have been a miscountdown of the cooldown of that binding there, because Alsar just ate it right in the face, and OMG couldn't clean up the kill. They got close. It was... I like the idea there that the aggression is something I like from OMG's dual lanes in general, whoever Uzi happens to be partnered with. But a misstep there goes a bit full looper on that play, and that is first blood to Lucian.
Never want to go full looper.
No, not after that last time. As Uzi going to clear out some waves as best he can 1v2, but with the spell shield, he should be just safe, and Amazing returning to lane fairly quickly as well.
So whatever happens this game, I feel like the scouting report from OMG is so straightforward. It's centered around get on top of this jungler early, because he does allow himself to fall into situations that shouldn't be happening at this level of play, and just basically abuse the new members, specifically Zhuezhui and Amazing seem to be the members that are exploitable on the lineup. Just, again, a missed timing issue. I didn't even consider it or encapsulate it in that point. But if you know the binding cooldown, which is very standard public information, you just play around windows in that situation. He didn't do it. His flash was already down. So that was the one piece of information that was critical between a successful turret dive and a failed one, and it was taken advantage of. OMG have vision of all the movements between them. Lei takes a nice burst of damage.
Yeah,
from
really
Uzi.
nice boomerang blades. I've noted this about Def before, but all of the best Sivir players always punish you when you hug terrain, because you just throw it against the wall and all of a sudden can't really juke into the wall.
And I get both sides, and it's very significant, especially if it's exclusively on one target. Don't get the damage drop-off as if it's on a minion wave. Xiaohu's causing good pressure in mid, but it feels like in trying to push the lane in, he's been giving up, just missing CS, as is inevitable, and now 9 CS behind Cool.
Yep, Uzi eats a turret shot there as well, and MLXG's forced to rotate down to the bottom lane to keep it safe, but he'll clear out what CS he can. Level 5 right now on the Sejuani, so getting close to that critical level 6. Cool doing fine in the mid lane as well, leading in CS ever so slightly and just trying to keep the wave under his control. And Cool, we talk about it, especially in this team composition, he probably needs to have another big performance. Not quite Pentakill Cassiopeia 1000 AP level, but gonna have to make good on the Orianna.
Again, if it scales up to late, probably gonna favor RNG when they have this Hecarim versus Gnar matchup. Credit to Xiang is actually going against the grain and is gonna be the frozen mallet we'd have to assume from the early pickaxe, not really another natural itemization choice for a Gnar to build into. Let me takes a lot of damage. The pickaxe will do that.
They're starting to bullying him around as well. The Gnar ultimate already used, so Xiang's done the majority of his burst. Let me can feel safe for now. Has his ulti as well if he absolutely has to use it. But bullying around, keeping competitive in CS, starting to apply pressure to Let Me. Who knows if a jungler's up there for the next time that trade happens. That's going to be a dead horsey.
I think it's important that Xiang stays on top of the Hecarim. Hecarim and Sejuani are the two different factors. Spotted out by a ward, should be able to get here as Gnar.
Yep, Xiang just going to hang out here and try and waste as much of MLXG's time as possible. 80 carries though, still looking good for Uzi. He's 10 CS ahead despite Amazing face planting himself into the turret, but no backs have come through just yet. It's just dueling Doran's blades here, and right now that favors them as a great black shield keeps Woosh safe from the pulverize.
and you kind of have to take in consideration comps when we talk about CS advantages. They've actually been able to get pink ward advantage in the neutral areas, both on the top and the bottom of the map, against the Jarvan jungle. Usually you'd expect Jarvan to be the one creating all the chaos between lanes, but because Sejuani and Hecarim got so far ahead of him early game, these weak lanes are doing competitive, and that's all RNG want. They're happy to scale into late game.
Yeah, nice initiation again onto Lei. Ultimate's up now as well for everyone in the bottom side, so Uzi and Amazing feel confident to try and bully them around. Shui is actually in the sidelines there as well, but he's not called in. Xiang looking to go back, but doesn't quite go yet. And Let Me also getting low, but again, just some blows being traded in the top side. And he's starting to think that apart from Alistar diving a turret again, a kill is on the horizon for one of these teams. That might just signal the first dragon as Shui accidentally makes it angry.
Accidents abound for Shui this game with the home guard.
Hop up, doesn't quite get there. Forced to fight. Ulti there from Let Me, and that's an easy kill for Hecarim. Nice ward placement gives Hecarim a kill. Very well played.
And I hate to say it, but rookie mistake from a new top laner, not respecting the home guard build. Remember, the home guard was completed and in full vision before all this happened. Went back, got a longsword, found his flank ward, and Na's dead.
I mean, OMG going to try and trade it for a dragon. RNG, no vision on that particular objective, so cool. Going to come in there, help out his jungler, make sure they can take it out, and with enough pressure that Uzi's putting on in the bottom lane with Amazing, that's an easy takeaway for OMG.
Solo kill for a Hecarim in a difficult lane when the Na is building for lane, working towards a frozen mount with early pickaxe. I think that's invaluable. I think the Dragons, as we saw last game, 3 Dragons to 0 lead for RNG, and they're not really a relevant factor in the late game. It's not a huge concern. Whoosh takes the CC in that situation. MXG's around.
Oh, Amazing. That might have been a misplay. Ulti's a bit early. Doesn't get out of the stun from Morgana, and now MLXG's here. Pops in the ultis again. Amazing. Getting CC for days. Massive ult from MLXG, but Shui's down here as well. Wooch going to get the first kill. Xiaohu's here as well, and OMG have no answer.
It was beautiful layering of CC. They did not use the ultimate from Sejuani until it guaranteed a kill, knowing that Amazing's flash was up. Staggered the CC. The sniper binding hits again from Lei. Very good team fight and pick coming through from RNG.
And Cool again, looking good in his lane, starting to get a lead, working towards his Charles, actually just goes back and finishes it, so 11.5 minutes in, that's a good clip for that item. Both AD carries going to back as well. It seems like Whoosh might enter a lane against Uzi once again with an item advantage, and Uzi, I think knowing this fact, actually staying for an extra amount of time, trying to match the item buy.
Feels like Uzi's definitely one of the old school of AD carries. It's always saying, no, I will be the one to backlast. I will be the one to control the wave and get it in the right spots. You're right, pruning a wave with 109 CS in the bank. It could be a scary first item purchase from Uzi. Could just be a straight-up Infinity.
I mean, Whoosh is 2-0, so he needs to have a big buy here. Amazing twice now has died. First of his own accord with a bit of an early dive, and next with just a great gank there for MLXG. Uzi knows that once again he's sort of in an awkward situation in the lane where he's probably going to be behind, so he's trying to minimize that as much as possible and goes back with just about the same items that Whoosh has.
I was trying to work out if he could afford the average blade. It looks like he could have, but chose to go more for the immediate power with the dagger, the boots, and the pot, which adds up to 800 gold. So it didn't go super greedy, did Uzi?
No, makes sense. Uzi's someone that always loves to fight you in your lane. So if you can't match the AD, you can't fight. So Uzi, you know he wants to fight.
The investment bankers, for once, step away from the bot lane.
Uzi's not about that life, man. Invest all you like, Xiang with a nice ulti. Pressures onto Let Me, but not quite enough. Needs the Frozen Mallet, actually, to really start putting the pressure down, but should have it in short order.
Still, 107 to 106. Being competitive in what was always a difficult lane. Okay, the Frozen Mallet's probably a tipping point to making it really tough for the Hecarim, but Hecarim was able to build for the team fights effectively, picking up the very early home guard. Obviously, the Ninja Tabi portion great for lane, but the home guard more for the team fights and what ended up being a solo kill for him. And now the Phage has built a bit of everything. Hasn't completed either the Cinderhulk or the what we expect will be the Trendy Force, but has a lot of power in his early buys.
I mean, I guess that's what he wanted his longsword for, but I do like it, actually. I think he expects to be challenged by Xiang in the lane, who's now going to go... Nope, he's tricked me. He's not going back just yet here, but Hecarim's looking good. Even if he wants to enter a skirmish with a teleport as well, he actually does have the home guard up as well, so it's sort of hedging your bets in a lot of ways, but he's felt comfortable with his early CS in the lane. He's just sort of doing a bit of everything, which is perfectly acceptable at this stage of the game.
Amusingly, to me, it's almost the poorest man's 3-item power spike on Hecarim. He's got the Skirmisher's Saber, no Cinderhulk. He's got the Phage, certainly no Trinity Force. He does have the Home Guard boots, but for 13 minutes 50, he's very flexible. He can team fight with that Home Guard boot enchantment. He can do a lot of different things, and man, he can certainly go and proxy waves.
Yeah,
apparently.
he's got MLXG here as well. I think they're just trying to prune the way for a dive. Tower does go down to the bottom side. Yeah, Xiang's about to pop back in a mini now as well. They're going to wait for it. They just can wait the longer they want. Xiang does have a hop. He goes over, but it's not quite enough. Too much damage and tankiness, and MLXG going to get himself a kill.
Still practice as well. Lulu wasn't even needed. They did not use the Onslaught of Shadows or the Glacial Prison. Love it from RNG. Very smooth, very smart turret dive. As you mentioned, even waiting out the tiredness coming through from the Gnar.
Yeah, and Lei rotates into the mid lane to prevent the push coming through for OMG. Cool. Might try and line up an ulti here, but Amazing gets tagged with a Glitter Lance. Actually takes some damage, but MLXG not going to pull the trigger on the ulti. Does still have it, actually. Didn't use it in the dive in the top side. And Dragon back in a minute 30. Shang will be back. He's got his Frozen Mallet, but we're about to break out into a few more team fights, it feels like.
And that's the crucial factor. Frozen Mallet's wonderful in the laning phase. Does give you a nice load of health, but unless you're in Mega Gnar form, unless you transform at the right point and you get those extra resistances, you're not that tanky in a team fight. You can definitely misplay if you build for lane and then team fight at not the highest point of power. So Hecarim with Home Guard, a lot more playmaking potential than just a Frozen Mallet Gnar, unless basically everything lines up. So let's see how the shot calling is to play around the Gnar bar with a carry build coming out from a new top laner like Xiang.
As we pop down to the bottom lane though, Uzi doing a nice job keeping this wave in a good spot, bullying Whoosh out actually now in the matchup, so able to leverage some of that experience and aggression in the 1v1 situation. Clears out the wave, knows Dragon's up soon, trying to create a bit of space, but he needs to complete a back. He's going to go now. That's about as minimal time as he can give himself to make sure he gets there, but probably crucially, Whoosh, who's now going back, will not be there in time.
It's always kind of, when it comes to back timers, it's how much can you get punished. With Sejuani not out of the base, with no double sightstone, with the wards not down, it doesn't feel like RNG can get decisive wards and punish Uzi for being out of position and showing up to Dragon late. So it's probably fine, but it's always situational. You want to realistically be shopped and ready to go 30 seconds before a Dragon so you can get position on warding, but should not be punished in this particular case.
No, and actually both AD carries get their shops in time, so misspoke slightly there, but they've got the same items coming through. A couple of extra consumables there for Whoosh means that RNG are going to get themselves confidently on top of the Dragon. And
spot it out.
Yeah, a bit of vision there, but not enough, and OMG will not commit to getting their second Dragon. They'll give one away to RNG.
Just an answering Dragon, so no big skin off the back of OMG. Uzi just wants to get as much experience down bottom as possible. Does he get hit by the gold? It doesn't look like
No,
it.
I think he actually snuck out from under the tormented soil, trying to hide in a brush once again. And Uzi, Infinity Edge on the Sivir, always feels confident when he hits his power spikes. And even matching the Lucian here, I think he'll be just fine in any sort of 1v1. And Amazing rejoining him as well means that they can continue pressuring on the bottom side.
Speaking of pressure, Zhuezhui feeling the pressure, a level behind MLXG. Not sure how the experience bar is on MLXG. And Xiaohu's just been pressuring mid. Again, he's been consistently down in CS, which in the late game, one massive shockwave comes up, and that might be a big issue. Teleport's coming in.
Yeah, actually, Let catches Uzi there. MLXG right on top of him. Good ult comes in, and Xiaohu takes him out, and Amazing. That ult will wear off soon. Gets Polymorph now. The ultimate wears off, and Xiaohu grabs the double.
Okay, but what do they get out? Remember, they did not need teleport to pick up the Dragon. Now they teleport for 2 kills. Are they just going to go back to the laning phase? All their lanes are pushed up. A teleport being used for just 2 kills and going to lose an objective from this? Not ideal from RNG.
No, not enough. And Xiang's going to take out this turret. Headbutts it a couple of times with the big spiky horns and is able to take it out on the top side. So OMG actually 2 turrets to nothing right now. RNG for all their kills, and they've got 6 of them right now. They're 1,000 gold ahead, but those objectives they are wanting right now as Zhuezhui pops into the mid to clean them out.
Overextending for kills, not a good thing for RNG here. So now there's a window. Next Dragon comes up. There should be about 40 seconds where Hecarim does not have his teleport available, so maybe Xiang will be able to really juggle that Gnar bar and get a rotation around. They get an answering turret, so at least they don't lose an objective in the trade, but crucially they don't gain one. And whenever we see things like teleports, we look for objectives gained. Speaking of matching teleports.
Yeah, Xiang's come in. He's actually mini now, and the Frozen Mallet means delay.
Frozen Mallet.
Having a really awful time here. Wallop very nicely
and
timed.
they even
Cool
give the
gets
kill after Cool.
Yeah, nice wonder down there. Cool collects his well-deserved kill there, walking from mid lane to the bottom lane. Well done there, Orianna. Is OMG, same story, unfortunately for them. No objectives, I guess, that they can easily take, and Let Me's going to enter the top lane. So all these trades, a lot of teleports for kills, but objectives, all the other team takes away.
I guess we shouldn't be surprised that two teams at the same stage of development make two questionable teleport plays. I mean, both of them get a successful kill out of them, but again, don't trade for objectives. You just see the Frozen Mallet now, and when it's really put to good use, remember there's also further CC with the Boomerang Toss and the Hyper. You just feel bad.
Oh, they found Hecarim as well. Amazing's also in the top side. Ulti not there for Let Me. Gonna get CC'd forever by Alistar, and Cool, once again, walks from mid lane to collect his kill.
But why was Let Me there? There was no reason whatsoever to be in the enemy jungle. I guess he was trying to check out red buff. It does feel at 19 minutes, it's around the time that red buff would be spawning, but you don't need to be there. And this Frozen Mallet has already really paid itself off. 2 picks uniquely because of the Frozen Mallet.
I mean, it's just so annoying.
Because it's so much CC between just the auto attacks and then the Q comes through the hyper procs, you're moving faster. It's just the worst feeling.
It is. I mean, Nah is so sticky in general in either form, especially mini Nah, but with a Frozen Mallet, it just compounds upon that factor. And I think it's one of the cool things about Frozen Mallet that's maybe something we'll learn a bit more as people build the item, especially on Nah on the top side. In pick situations like that, it's so good at actually either getting you a pick or aiding to make sure you can collect the kill.
And an item that's been unchanged in, what, 4 years? Maybe the build path has slightly changed, but basically been completely unchanged. It's probably no irony that the last time we saw it in competitive play was, what, the Rain Man playing it on Frozen Mallet Teemo, and then a champion that has at least 50% of the time, or whatever the uptime is of Minina, a very same playstyle, uses it very effectively.
Makes a lot of sense as MLXG gets shielded, but tanks a couple of turret hits there. RNG, though, going to go in for the turret. Finding her landing onto Cool, actually, so he'll zone him off and Let Me gonna dive in on the Hecarim, but Xiang, beautiful Narbar usage there, and he's just diving in looking for an ulti. Finds it onto Lei and Xiao, who they're gonna CC them forever, and Cool gets himself another Cool. Amazing jumping in. Beautiful team fight here from OMG. Whoosh trying to kite away, does not get the kill with the Orianna ball there, and Shui Shui flash Q there to secure the 4th, and OMG a big wipe there, 4 kills for nothing.
Really peculiar engage. Who's gonna be doing the consistent damage? I guess it's because Let Me just finish the Trinity Force, but it didn't feel like everyone's on the same regard. Even if Xiaohu, MLXG, and Let Me dive aggressively into the backline, they're just not really going to have the damage, and Lucian was struggling at the back, and OMG get a free start onto the Baron.
Yeah, free start's the right word there. Is that getting a little bit low in the situation?
It's
but
only
Baron,
Morgana.
They've got too much. It's only Morgana. Hey man, Baron does a lot of damage! They did get the Baron, but nah, he did not live.
No, Xiang just died.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Mini Nah, not very tanky. Hasn't really quite made a tank items yet. Maybe didn't walk out of the AoE there. It's okay. He'll be back next time.
Not much to say about that. That was Looper tier.
Full Looper.
Full Looper tier when it comes to Baron juggling, I guess,
Looper.
coming through from Xiang. Yeah, Looper probably, I mean, like, he's got that really shiny trophy to look at from the season 2014 World Championships, but not a lot of glory in the LPL so far.
Not yet, at least. Still got a season to go here on M3, but that's 3 full Looper moments that we've had already. 2 actually in this series, so looking good so far on the Looper count. That's 3.
Yeah.
3 in 4 matches is probably not that bad.
It's getting late pastry time.
It is.
Even in China.
Even in China, that's true as well. As Grump, will go to Shui. Shui manages to smite that away. Dragon up in 12 seconds is probably the next big thing to look at, and Cool just quietly collecting those free kills, the Meals on Wheels, delivering him some some much needed kills for himself. Level 14, Death Cap done. Void Stuff almost completed there as well. OMG are ready to fight, Papa Smithy.
Absolutely, and with the ball on someone like Alistar, an excellent ball carrier, they have a lot of flexible options between Jarvan and Alistar for ball carriers. We never really talked about ball carriers, but now that we've glossed over a 303, 216 CS Orianna that's pushing towards level 16 and a Void Staff to go with the Death Cap Athenes, going to become a relevant statistic because a lot of these members, there's no Aegis completed here, so people are going to explode.
I mean, for all the team fight that OMG have, they need to use it when it matters, and the mid-game is where they really shine with this composition. Xiang's not even going to join them for the Dragon because it's so secure there for OMG, and that's 2 now. now. Maybe you wish it was 3, but a real win condition available now as that second dragon comes online.
I was just commenting on the fact that there's no Aegis. There's no magic resist at all, Pastry Time. The approach that RNG is taking, and honestly, given how quiet it was for the first 20 minutes, probably not a bad one, was let's kill Orianna and then deal with the other 4 physical damage members. So you just stack armor and just kill Orianna. Once you're stacking on AP, got Flash and Cleanse available even after winning a team fight, just ignoring Orianna becomes less of a realistic option, and they need that Aegis pronto.
They do, and Cool's going to have that Void Stuff well and truly before the Aegis has come online.
It's not now.
Oh, well, that's not. Oh, Void Stuff, yes, that's good. So I was like, Aegis, really? No, Void Stuff there for Cool. 3 item power spikes here for Orianna. Xiang's going to have a Randuin's fairly soon as well. Front lane's going to be tanky. Carries will do damage. Everything going well. And OMG, they just need to find a way to pressure. And we've got Baron maybe for a bit longer here. Going to start to get some vision down and try and see if they can get a pick.
And the unique thing about Let Me's build is you might think, okay, he's got the Trinity Force at a good timing. He's working towards the Frozen Heart. He does not have the Cinderhulk yet. I mean, I can kind of understand it with the Cinderhulk nerfs coming through that maybe the priority isn't as high, but it's still really strong for 4 seconds, so I don't know about ignoring it.
Diving MLXG there. Jarvan just dunks in there with a Cataclysm, but Ulti's going to find it. Great shockwave from Cool, gets the kill onto Morgana. Lulu's going to fall down there as well. Wooch channels his ulti, but amazing. Just going to eat it and say thank you very much. And OMG going to take a turret. A teleport I can see from Hecarim is going to be very optimistic, but Let Me might just ulti into his own death. Oh, he finds Cool, takes out the kill.
Replay.
Instant replay, and Uzi has to run away there as well. But Xiang's almost got the full Naba, throws him out threatening, and a 2-4 trade plus a tower for OMG.
And look, he's got a lot of damage. He's got good cooldown reduction coming through from the Frozen Heart. Still no magic resist, and he wants to kill Uzi.
Oh, Uzi is dead, maybe. Yep, there's Woosh coming in to clean it out as Let Me able to take out the kill. That's a good trade, honestly, for RNG. Sure, losing the turret, not the greatest thing, but OMG needs to be a bit more concerted in their efforts to push through and win this game.
Well, I mentioned build armor, kill Orianna. That happened there, and he could just run at Uzi, and there's nothing he can do. The damage still very, very respectable. Let's see if they can get any sort of objectives, because breaking the base is certainly not going to happen.
No, going to look for a rotation. Let Me, couple tower hits being tanked up there.
That was 5.
Yep, Jarvan fancies an ulti actually, but Let Me still pretty tanky despite the Cinderhulk, so Frozen Heart doing well there. Blue buff will go over to MLXG there as well, so a good round of objectives cleaned up there for RNG. But OMG, again, still on the front foot. Got a decent gold lead here, about 3,000 gold, but that's actually much less than I thought it was going to be. One assertive Baron later, and OMG haven't really done anything with it.
No, they didn't break the base. That's what we always talk about. We really want to see teams breaking the base. They'd won a team fight before, so we thought with the Baron buff, go and break the base. Certainly hasn't happened in this situation. And this horse is getting big, and will he be checked in the late game? Will the shockwave hit or will it not? It's such an exciting ultimate as a caster because it has so many permutations. And Orianna as a champion, that ball control, will trust Cool can stay on top of it. He's played a lot of Orianna in his career, but if he has all the gold, and to be honest, on this team he does when it comes to big carry items, he either makes the most of it or he doesn't. A lot of the fates, as is always the case with OMG, lie with Cool.
Yep, Cool's KDA right now looking good for another carry performance, but needs to hit level 16. He'll be there relatively soon. OMG might be waiting for the next big objective to come up as far as fight points go, so Baron up in 130 might be what they're looking to next. Again, things have slowed down because OMG just couldn't find enough momentum to get the game to a point where they could easily close it out by breaking that base. And RNG sticking themselves in it, looking to gear up for some team fights. Again, I looked up at the gold and was surprised they are not that far behind.
And we're waiting for tipping points like the Aegis we've discussed a few times. Sejuani is only going to get more powerful. Both this top side, both the jungler and top lane are going to hyper scale into the late game. Zhang's not going to be, I mean, a scrub or anything in the late game, but Jarvan especially is going to start to fall off. Only really going to be useful for the CC, as you can tell, just building into the Randuin is going to be generally tanky. So they do have, he's going to be a good ball carrier, but the reliable team fights, when Hecarim Sejuani get big and get moving, Whimsy coming through from Lulu, we already saw a carry Sejuani performance coming out from Swift from QG. The same potential is here. It's not a free farm Sejuani, but as the game gets later, the items start stacking up.
Good rotation, though, from OMG. Going to pressure out this tier 2 turret. Hecarim does go back early. He's pushed out the minion wave. OMG look to get this tower here. Shui eats a binding, but he's fairly tanky. But Let Me, level 16 right now on the Hecarim. Fairly tanky with the Trinity Force up. He is very threatening.
MLXG's been poked out a little bit. We're just waiting to see what's going to happen. from this particular station. No, MX's still very, very healthy, so they're looking to see whether they hit a fight. There's a binding on Jiang, but he's tanky.
Yeah, he's Mininar as well, though. Maybe needs to build it. The Rage does go in. Amazing, going to dive straight through. MLXG, little too deep, goes in. An amazing three-man pulverize. Massive shockwave for Cool. Gets the kills. Let me going to go down. Amazing still alive. Whoosh is going to get the answering kill onto Uzi once again, but Cool cleans up a triple and a 5-for-1 win.
And why do I ever question Cool? Of course he's going to hit a 3-4-man shockwave under turret. I thought amazing. Okay, man, pull out. You're going too deep. But when you're a ball carrier like that, excellently played. They will break the base here. Will they be able to take the victory? Maybe not. But it's starting to look like an inevitable one for OMG.
And hilariously, another big moment for Cool. He comes up massive in a team fight, and Uzi is the only one to die.
Uzi's just not Uzi's series, but honestly, if OMG pocket 3 points, there's another series, another day where Uzi will pull off a carry performance. We've said it a couple of times this split already, but form is temporary, class is permanent, and Cool's turning back the clock with a really, really good performance in both games today.
Yeah, Cool looking good. I guess it's like a meta thing as far as LPL goes. The big moments for Uzi last season in spring, or when Cool was actually fighting alongside him, kind of as an extra peel, and they would just tandem attack people with their frontline going and leveling, and their support as well, honestly, just creating chaos around the area. I feel like Amazing especially has to step into his role of babysitting Uzi, because Uzi's like individual technical ability aside, he is someone that needs a support that can play with him and his style specifically. So OMG, I'm curious to see that synergy build back up with another new support here for Uzi, because if it starts to click, Uzi won't be dying in this team fight. He'll just be another big carry for his team.
But I guess the big question is, if you win this series 2-0, do you need to go full Starhorn Royal Cup and really tailor your comps around Uzi? We're going to see a replay, notable towards the end. Bit of a weird engage and then a weird Glacial Prison. It only really goes onto the tank front line. Amazing finally picks up the ball, and here we go. Triple shockwave obliterates everyone in this front line, including the Hecarim. Only Whoosh alive. Of course, to complete the narrative, Uzi has to die. And OMG back away, but there's another teleport.
Yeah, let me coming in, but he's only onto Shui. MLXG trying to line it up. Cool though, good ball positioning, but Uzi is late to the party. Glacial Prison comes out there, but it lands under the tanks there, and Shui gonna zone out the carry. Lei gonna channel his ultimate, but he's dead now as Uzi takes him out. Xiang jumps in there on the Gnar, moves Whoosh into the wall. Cool goes in. Uzi takes the double. Now Letme's gonna be under threat as well. Xiaohu's getting massively chunked out. There's Uzi's triple. There's the quadra. Can it be back-to-back carry pentakill? Xiaohu sitting in there. They're gonna try and cut him off, and Uzi, can he find him? Xiaohu all the way back down. Xiang's diving into the base, but it doesn't matter. They surrender. And Uzi, he's denied the pentakill.
Scumbag surrender stops the pentakill. Very nice move coming through from Xiang. Actually teleporting to the other side of the base just to try and get the slow from the frozen out. Probably would have been a penta. Hand on Uzi's head, probably a little bit frustrated that he doesn't end with an asterisk and say, okay, didn't carry, but pentakill. No pentakill, but OMG. We said it at the start of this game. Both teams at the same start of their rebuilding phase. Both teams, 3 out of 5 new members for OMG as the smiles come through, and it can only assume mouthing about something about pentakill.
I don't think it matters. Uzi just always looks, whether he wins or loses, just not the happiest player in the world.
Again, but both teams...
At least recently.
At least it's been a happy season for Uzi, and he'll be happy for the 3 points. OMG and RNG both at the same stages of their rebuilding, and OMG, we mentioned